Hey everybody, Cliff Yates live here from Wickham Park in Central Florida. I'm on the east coast of Florida, and this location, this park, Wickham Park, is probably 12 miles from the beach. 8 to 12, however you want to look at it, because I'm probably 2 miles into the park here. This is an amazing park, everybody. Wickham Park is huge. Here it is a Sunday. I bet you in this park there's probably 1,000 people today. 1,000 people in this park. Do you see anybody? It's so big. There's so many bike trails. There's so many hiking trails. There is walking trails. And then on the weekends, they'll have farmers markets, and they'll have all sorts of craft sales. And then in and around the central area where all that happens, they have Frisbee courses. They have archery courses and whatever you call where you shoot archery at. And intermixed all around is the horse, bike, and hiking trails. And sometimes I get myself on the wrong trail. Oh, there's a biker right there. This is probably a bike trail, which is okay. Let's go down and we'll violate the rules and see if we don't get hit. But it's almost like an enchanted forest here. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, it's all good stuff. It's all positivity, self-improvement, those kind of things, because that's what I study. How we can do better today than we did yesterday. This is an amazing part of the park. It's totally covered up. Hi, how are you? And it's got this beautiful biker here. This is awesome. We're spreading joy today, yeah? Always good to put positivity out in the Wickham Park. And today I'm doing my sprints. So last week, as I told you, I always start my day on Sunday. And so I've been sprinting once every 7 to 10 days, but I changed that to once a week. And the way I got consistent with it was by scheduling it. So now I'm making a habit. I've habituated sprinting every Sunday. So today was sprinting. Oh, there's a high school right here. I've never been on this part of the trail before. There's all sorts of turtles out today in the park, and maybe we'll see some. If I do, I'll show you. Obviously, you're coming along for my walk after my sprinting. Oh man, this is an enchanted forest path right here. I'm sure it's a bike path, but we'll go down it anyways because we're going to be rogue today. Even though we have an attitude of gratitude, we have a little wild side to us, right? And that's what my channel's about, everybody. I really am putting forth 100% effort to growing the channel and staying within my niche, which is really self-improvement, personal growth, more about discipline than anything else. It's really going to help other people. And you can't help other people without helping yourself. That's kind of one of the secrets of life, right? If you try to help other people, you're going to end up helping yourself. Bear with me. I'm on an area that I have never been on before. So we're actually exploring today. We're exploring today. And I was listening to the author, Earl Nightingale, of The Strangest Secret. And he wrote that 60 years ago, maybe more. The Strangest Secret. You know, they have that book and the movie, The Secret, which went viral. And as Bob Proctor, who was in the movie, said, before the law of attraction, there's the law of vibration. That's what causes you to attract certain things and people in your life, is the vibration that you're putting out there. Our bodies, our minds, we are receivers as well as transmitters. I don't like this part of the trail. This is definitely the bike trail, but we're going to continue on. We're going to go wild with it. Thanks for coming along today. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, hit that button. Costs nothing. What does it do? It tells YouTube that people are interacting with the channel. They'll show it to more people who are into this kind of thing. And this is all I study all day, every day. Why? Because I was exposed to it 35 years ago. And when I changed, things began to change for me. And then I got excited about learning more, becoming more. And then I wanted to share it with other people, just because at the same time you share with other people, you're hearing it again for yourself. And repetition, spaced repetition, definitely is the mother of skill and improvement and growth. And if we're not growing, we are dying. But I was listening to Earl Nightingale, and he was talking about a guy he ran into who was sitting on basically the dock of the bay, like the song, staring into the water. And the guy said, yeah, I believe in, multiple lives, that we've been reincarnated. And so I'm sitting this one out. I'm choosing to sit this one out. But here's the important part. He was choosing. So we need to just choose. Choose how you want to live. I'm living here because I want to live here. I'm doing what I want today because I want to do it. So you choose. The greatest thing about this country, and I'm sure a lot of countries, but more this country than anything else, is we get to choose where we live, what we do, how we interact with other people. Look at this trail out here in the sun. This is going to be nice. I'm going down this way. Next, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I'm going to take you with me for the rest of the trip. Who knows what's going to happen? It's live, it's raw, it's real. With me, when I go live, there's no editing later. There's no teleprompter. There's notes, none. My notes are in my head and my heart, and that's the important part of creating today, is being real, authentic. So much AI-generated content. As a matter of fact, yesterday, an older YouTuber, this guy's 80 years old, and he was sharing several channels of older people that had millions of views, and they weren't real people, they were fake. And you wouldn't know the difference. One lady, I'm 103, and these are the secrets to living to 103. This lady was a fake lady. It wasn't even a real person. Yet there was thousands of comments and subscribers believing this was a real person. And that's kind of the bullshit of AI. I mean, I don't want to be fooled. I know you don't want to be fooled. So believe me, going forward, things are always changing, but definitely being authentic, real. Going live is one way of doing it. Live content is going to be valued because we can pretty much bank, that it's really happening now, for the most part. But we have to question everything. But wow, this is the park is amazing. How big this damn park is. And like I said, it's Sunday. There's thousands of people. I went through the main part of the park, and I saw hundreds of people walking their dogs. There's a dog park. Like I said before, there's a frisbee park. There's horse trails, biking trails, hiking trails. I don't know how many square acres this park is, but I'm going to have to check that out. But it definitely is big. And I've seen so many turtles. But of course, as soon as I went live, I don't see any turtles. But I will be posting them later on my other social media channels. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, this is all about, hey, I'm on a, really, you know what this is about? Self-coaching. Coaching other people helps you coach yourself. The more you improve, the better you get at communication, listening, interacting with other people. It's going to have a positive impact on the people around you. And that's one of the greatest life-fulfilling things you can do. Having a positive impact on other people. You know what? Be the light around your own feet. But in this dark world, be the light around yourself and around those around you. And then if you can, you try to expand that light you shine. We can be a shining light in an area of darkness. And so we can do that in everything that we do. No matter what job we have, we can actually find a way to love and enjoy what we're doing while we pursue what we want. That was one of the keys for me when I became disgruntled in my job 35 years ago in the LA Sheriff's Department. I became disgruntled, angry, frustrated, but it created energy to pursue something else. And when I was pursuing something else, I went to some training that I thought was sales training. Turned out to be life training by Jim Rohn. Met him in person, and Tony Robbins used to work for him when he first started out. And then I got into this whole self-improvement, personal growth stuff, and I was so motivated, right? I had leverage on myself to make some changes. And so when I changed, everything began to change for me. And that becomes addictive. Not everybody's going to buy into it. There's going to be a lot of poo-pooing, negative comments, negative attacks, but we don't let anybody else mess with our emotions. Nobody else can change our attitude or how we feel unless we give them permission, unless we turn the power over. Otherwise, no one can ruin your day. No one can ruin my day today because I would have to give that power away to them. And I will have several ways of doing that. Number one, maybe I won't look at any comments. I really can't see you right now. I'm in the bright sunlight. And so listen, let's change subjects to attitude. That's what I was kind of studying earlier with Earl Nightingale. Attitude is really the key ingredient. It becomes such a cliche, but no matter what you're doing, man, the attitude is the missing ingredient to a lot of success. Even though you might not have the competence or expertise in an area, your attitude is going to make the difference. Someone might even hire you over somebody else who's more competent based on your attitude. The fact that you're going to be easier to work with, you have a pleasing personality, you're willing to learn, right? You're coachable, right? Somebody else of a higher competence, of a higher expertise in the field that you're pursuing, they might be better suited based on their talents. But if they have a bad attitude, they might not get the job. They might get the job once, maybe twice. You know, it takes a long time to build great character and a great reputation, and it takes about 2 to 3 minutes to ruin the whole thing, right? Based on what we do, what we choose to do, say, and act. And these are all concepts that we can adapt and apply today. Not in the future. I'm telling you, if you make the changes today, and you have the power to do that, your life is going to begin changing immediately. Maybe just a little bit. You have to pay attention. Be self-aware. I was out to dinner last night, and we were talking about self-awareness. And, you know, from my police training, I'm always talking about, you know, when you go out to the store, being self-aware of your, look at this, these trails. This is kind of crazy. So beautiful here. You can find beauty wherever you're at. I don't care if you're in Wichita, Kansas, you're in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, or you're in Rochester, New York. You can find beauty anywhere you want to look, right? It's all in the seeking. If we look for it, it's there. And then we can choose greatness, whatever the geography of where we are is. And that's important. But I was talking, with my dinner mate last night. Beautiful place, Frigates on the water. I love eating at the Waterfront Grill. Frigates, what a great place. And we were just talking about being self-aware, and she was talking about how the dangerous world we're in, but we can't operate out of fear. And I said, we can't go forward fearfully. We have to be self-aware. Do the best you can. When you walk into a store, you can just take a glance. It takes a half a second to see everything looks like it's operating normally, right? We can go through the grocery store with our cart, and we can just take a notice. That's the 2 rear doors. They probably take deliveries out the back there. If there was an active shooter in there, you know what? I would run through those 2 doors, and I could probably escape the building, right? So I have the front and the back to deal with. But we don't often think about that, right? Unless we've had training in self-awareness and training and active shooter training, we don't think about it. But we can train ourselves to be more self-aware. If something happens, I have options, and I can pre-rehearse those in my mind. Now, most cops that I interact with through the last 40 years, when they go out to a restaurant, they don't want to have their back towards the door. They want to see who's coming in. I actually took an opposite approach, and my wife told me about this from Al Pacino. He liked to put his back towards the door and face in. That way people didn't recognize him. So how many cops have been in a restaurant shot in the back because they weren't facing the door? Or, it's so rare. I don't think it's the most important thing to be thinking about. So I do think about strategically maybe sitting somewhere, most importantly, rather than safety, when I'm being seated, I really don't want to be near the kitchen door where there's a lot of traffic. I want a peaceful meal. And so if someone tries to seat me in kind of not the best area, I will request a different location, but not normally. Normally, wherever you seat me, I'm going to go, make the best of it. But I don't want to be by the, heavily trafficked kitchen area. And so that's just self-awareness, aware of our surroundings. And that's a great thing to train ourselves in doing, especially in today's day and age where we don't want to be creating our own prison, right? We stay in the house, we lock the doors, and we don't go anywhere. We are social animals. We're meant to be social and interact with other people. That's kind of a natural thing, but as far as achievement, we have to choose. We have to choose that we want to do that. And wherever you're at, There's people with different desires and wants, and that's what's great about the country and about the world, right? There are taxi drivers who want to drive taxi. They're driving taxi. There's a bunch of charter fishermen captains down in Key West, Florida, and they're preparing to take out their clients today to marlin fish, to go for red snapper. There's people who are running their snorkel boat business, right? And there are other people who are running their air conditioning, heating, and ventilation businesses, right? People, you know, they're choosing what they want to focus on and what they want to achieve. And that's the beauty of life, is choosing. Let's choose. And choose your attitude is probably going to be the secret weapon no matter where you're at. Because no matter what you're doing, no, it's not a violation of your desires to enjoy what you're doing, even though you're pursuing something else or you have another goal off into the distance. And you know, when you choose a destination, when you're sailing, you can have an ultimate destination, but you can have waypoints along the way. So along the way, we're stopping at this harbor, we're stopping at this port. And so have your goal off in the distance, create that image of where you want to get to, know where you are and where you want to go. That's the starting point. Where do I want to go? Choose. Where am I? Start taking steps in that direction. You might have waypoints along the way. Guaranteed, if you think big, if you take the moonshots, you're going to have waypoints along the way, for sure. And know that that's going to happen. You may even choose to change your final destination. But the point is, get out the chart, put the X on the destination, put the X of where you're at, and then, you know what, untie the damn boat and get out there and start navigating those waters. Sure, there's going to be storms. You're going to make it through the storms, even though it seems like you might not. You're going to make it through. Keep going. You're going to have to make constant adjustments to what happens. Life's going to happen, and you're going to have to make adjustments. Going to happen. People are going to die. People are going to leave your life unexpectedly, and then people are going to come in. And it's going to be an ebb and flow of prosperity, followed by seasons of change and challenge. But that's okay, because now we know it's coming. We're not surprised by it. We're not shaken by it. This is good stuff we're talking about today. I might have to look. Sometimes I just get enamored with the negative comments. That's okay, because when you go live in the YouTube vertical mode, you show up in the shorts feed, which I like because then I connect with more people who aren't already subscribed to the channel, and the audience tends to grow, right? And I end up connecting with people, sometimes on a direct message, email basis, of people who are trying to get to the next level, who are saying, hey, I like what you've done. I like the content you put out there. As a matter of fact, yesterday, always at the right time, just when, you know, sometimes, like all of us, I'll get a little discouraged. You know what I mean? Down a little bit. There's peaks and valleys in life. Always just when I'm starting to feel that, I talked to a friend of mine who says, hey, listen, I'm going to put you on a 3-way call with my girlfriend. She loves your content. And you know what? You want to say hi to her because she just loves all the stuff you put out there, and she follows you. What? I mean, that made me feel so good. Not that we should be doing things for, you know, for outward accolades. That shouldn't be the motive. But you know what? It is good to get it. It's good to get it and take a lesson from it. So what I do is I take that lesson. Hey, that really created a good feeling in me, great emotions, positivity, a good vibration. And that's why I try to encourage other people, because I know what encouragement has done for me. Even when people probably thought, well, you don't need encouragement. Why would I give you encouragement? You don't need it. Look what you're on the path. What would my encouragement mean to you? And so then I realized, just when people I think probably don't need my encouragement, I give it to them. Sometimes I find out that it was very welcomed and it came in a right time for them. So our attitude toward life will determine life's attitude toward us. It really is being on the same vibration and frequency of that we want to attract. The whole idea around Earl Nightingale is The Strangest Secret, which you can get it on audiobook, or even go to YouTube and put in Earl Nightingale. The Strangest Secret is we are what we think about all day long. So we want to be careful what we think about. It's easy to start watching the news and get sucked into a 12-hour getting immersed in the war. And that's going to cause us to be thinking, ruminating about all these things that aren't going to be serving us in the best possible way. Not that we shouldn't be aware, but believe me, when big things are happening, they're going to come up in conversation. People are going to be talking about them. You're going to hear them, and you're going to know about them. You're not going to have to make too much effort in trying to gain the knowledge of what's happening in the world today. People are going to share that. The noise is going to be unbelievable. So sometimes we have to try to cut out a lot of the noise. In today's world, people are vying for attention. Attention really is the biggest commodity there is, right? People are, oh, there's a big turtle over there. I don't know if you can see him. There's a big turtle. Hello, turtle. He's a ways off there. Obviously has a nest right there. All right, we got to see a turtle on the walk. All right. Fantastic, everybody. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I know people are jumping in and off here on the Shorts feed, which I do appreciate. You know, people are kind of scrolling through, so if you're just stopping by, subscribe on the way out. On the way out the door, smash the subscribe button. Let's see how many we can get today. All right, it's always good content. You get notified when the next video comes out, and it's always good stuff. It's going to be self-improvement, stuff that I'm learning, reading about, and trying to put into practice. It's not enough to gain knowledge. You know, we have to put things into practice. That is the way to get results. And no matter what we do, we're going to get results. And you remember that. There's no failure. There's only results. And we make adjustments according to the results. When you plot a course, you know, to sail to, you're constantly going to be off course. I mean, if you weren't directly on your path, would you say, I'm failing? No, you would readjust. There's a big old turtle right there. There's a big turtle. Right there in the nest, everybody. There's the turtle. That's our metaphor today, our turtles. Our turtle is our metaphor today, everybody. Slow and steady wins the race. Keep going. Persevere. Don't stop. Too many people stop 3 feet from the gold. There's that story, right? The guy got all his mining equipment. He got all his shovels, his picks, right? His shaker stuff. And he got all his stuff to go out there and dig a mine and kept searching. Finally, he gave up. He quit. Sold all his mining equipment for a pretty good profit. Somebody bought all the equipment, and they dug 3 feet and hit one of the biggest veins of gold that was ever to be struck. What was the lesson? He stopped 3 feet from the gold. 3 feet. Don't stop 3 feet from the gold. Keep adjusting. Sometimes we decide to take a new direction in life. That's okay. Choose. But the important thing is to choose. Let's not sit here and tread water unless that's your choice. That's not my choice. I changed. Things started changing for me. I got addicted to that, and it's been very fulfilling because that's one of the secrets. Making progress towards a worthy goal creates fulfillment in your life. Even if you don't get to that final destination, who you become in trying to get there is the secret. The strangest secret. You are what you think about all day long, everybody. That is the secret. All right, I think you went along with me, and I think we created about, I think we're over 10,000 steps in today. I appreciate the company. And subscribe to the channel. This is the Cliff Yates channel. We're going to grow this baby big this year. That's my intention. I'm going to put in the work, but it's a work of pleasure. From the time I was 16, I liked filming and editing. And as technology has grown, of course, I used to have to develop those films, those Super 8 movies, right? I used to have to take it somewhere, have it developed, and get it back a week later. And then I used to have to set up a projector, show it to only my family and friends. And that's the reach that I had, but I enjoyed the process of doing it. And now you can create stuff for the world. You can expand your reach. Everybody can watch this around the globe. And so there's never been a better time to be alive. That's got to be your attitude, right? There's never been a better time. You're going to find people, watch for them, look for them. They're going to think this is the worst time in the history of mankind. And you and I, we have a different attitude. Our attitude is there's never been a better time to be alive. And we go out there in the world with that attitude. And because of our attitude, we attract like-minded people, like-minded circumstances, and things start to act in our behalf without us knowing how it all works. But we know it works. We have faith. And that is the key, everybody. All right, thanks, everybody. You're awesome. You know you're the best in the world.